Yeah, it's like they're going away. You'll see them moving right here. I'll show you a little dragonfly. They get a lot bigger. It's slapping you in the face. It's right there. You know, if you're exposed to it, you see it. It's not even the frog in the pot thing. I see it. You see it happening, and this is a lot of it right here. It's terrible. Basically, I tell my students is this, that you have an atmosphere in the wild with no cities. You have an atmosphere that's going to cool and heat. It's going to heat during the day. It's going to cool at night, right? And so if it's a cool day, there's different layers in the atmosphere, but mostly it's a gradual gradient. It just goes up, and we know hot air rises, right? Hot air rises. That's why we have hot air balloons. They go up. What happens is, what if your atmosphere is cool, right? But then the city is generating more heat than what's in the upper atmosphere. That heat starts to rise. So that heat comes up, and then it hits that less dense cool air and gets stopped. And it has like a layer on top, and then cool air can come underneath it, and it just circulates under there the whole time. It happens in valleys, and it happens over cities. And LA is the perfect example. You just fly over there. You can see it. You can see the line where all the smog is just sitting, I can't go any higher. And you're breathing that in. And so what if you have tons of CO2 emissions there, right? In that whole area, all that heat gets trapped. And so it's all cool, perfect. Birds are flying over top of it going, oh, this is fine. Underneath, hot, hot, hot. It's way hotter than it's supposed to be, right? That shifts everything. That shifts the ecosystem.
Okay. Do you know what urban warming is?
What?
Urban warming?
No, maybe.
No, not exactly.
Yes.
No.
Oh, yeah, I know a little bit about it.
No.
Yes.
No.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Generally, some of the warmest areas in Raleigh are what we call impervious surfaces. So parking lots, think sidewalks, places where there's not shade or green space. It can be as much as 20 degrees hotter as even a block over, where there's trees or shade. And that can make a big difference when you're talking about someone with cardiac issues, maybe the elderly or children. The heat can affect them much differently, and that can depend on where they live.
So the trees are probably the biggest asset that the campus has. I truly, when I see William Peace being a downtown campus, the benefit that this campus has over the others, and there are a bunch of them in Raleigh, the difference is that we're surrounded by these trees, so we know on the other side of those trees there's a lot of activity. That's where the life of the city is. But when I come back and I go into this beautified tree area, that's now I'm on campus, and now I can get back to my life as a student or a staff member or faculty member or whatever. The softball field behind us over here, that will become a parking lot in sometime during the summer.
Save our field. That's what softball players at William Peace University are asking of the community after the school revealed plans to turn the softball field into parking.
Personally, I don't think a lot of things were considered. I think they're just thinking, oh, we need another parking lot because they think we don't have enough parking spaces. But in reality, I live in Bingham, which is the dorm room right over there across from the softball field, and I constantly see open spaces day in and day out, and I don't really think they consider a lot of things here. So no, I do not think they considered the environmental aspect of it.
We're here at the corner of Franklin and Blunt Street, across the street from William Peace University.
Our nonprofit urban farm was founded in 2011, and it was a collection of vacant lots that over the course of 14 years have been transformed into a beautiful, productive farm. We grow about 13,000 pounds of food every year, and part of our mission is to make that food affordable and accessible to our community.
I would still purport that as much as we're a car-driven culture, people get very stressed out in cars. People get very belligerent in cars. They don't act nice in cars. In parking lots, they seem stressed out. They don't know how to park. Why would we add more of a hostile environment? I mean, now I'm really rethinking this, but I mean, so why can't we make parking lots, give people an opportunity to experience them in a different way with enhancements, with plants, right, that might create a more healthy experience as they're parking their car.
So there's actually a whole sustainability office, and they're doing a lot of initiatives to try to combat this. One really cool thing they're doing is something called cool pavement, and basically it's a coating on the roads that can make them 10 degrees cooler. And that can make a big difference when you're talking about a really hot day in the dog days of summer where it's 90, 100 degrees. That cooling layer can make a difference for the communities around that road. So if we have more impervious surfaces, if they put this huge building downtown, what's that going to do to how the wind is moving? What is that going to do to the neighboring area and the surface temperatures there?
Urban green space, just say green space in general, is vital. It's vital to the health of the planet. In Europe, there's a whole depaving movement where people are literally ripping up parking lots to create permeable surfaces. Because what's happening, look around the globe at how climate changes are impacting communities. Look at what happened in North Carolina, for Pete's sake.
So I've lived in Raleigh my whole life, and like this field is definitely a big part of the community. And so once we found out that the field was going to get taken, I talked to my parents about it, obviously, and he was very upset about just the reasoning more so than like the field being taken. It's like the reason it's being taken. So he and like the old coach and like some of the players got together, and we really wanted to like try to prove our point and show like why it's such a community piece for the school and just like the area in general.
Beautification of the trees and all that stuff, it makes it much calmer to walk around campus with that type of environment. And then the heat, it is much cooler when you just see in August the difference between sitting out here under these trees as opposed to just being on the softball field in the middle of what that temperature would be, or an asphalt parking lot on the front of campus.
Here's the thing, anywhere where there's people, where there's a city, one, the roads are a huge source of this. The roads heat up at night, right? The buildings are warmer than the ambient temperature. So where's that gonna go? Well, that heated air is gonna rise, right? When it rises, and then we have that problem here, when it rises, the regular atmospheric temperature is cool. It's compacted air, it hits it, and it has nowhere to go. Right? And so what comes up underneath it is just colder air, but it traps everything underneath it. And so pollution is the worst, right where we're at. The greenways, there's some thermal pollution there because they're cutting all the greenways out, and those are shade. We need shade. And this lake is, this creek is already pulling water from the top where it's hot of that lake, it's got to get cooled down. And we have a lot of this because of the greenways. And sometimes the greenway's like right along it forever. And it really heats the water up a lot. Midsummer, it's crazy out here. You know, it's 88 degrees in the water. So what are these fish, what are they going to do? So if you're those species who have to live in this, you've got to worry about your oxygen just going down into the floor. And then you have to worry about a 16-foot flood. Where do I go? Well, they don't. They end up getting washed downstream.
People should educate themselves and not rely on someone else. Find their own sources.
It would help everything, you know, the economy and all that stuff if we start putting money towards, you know, green energy and all that.
Save the art so we don't die.
Like as a whole, we should find different ways to help the environment to improve it, because in little ways we can as individuals.
We see thousands of deaths in the U.S. every year because of extreme heat. It's the most deadly weather-related hazard. So compared with hurricanes, tornadoes, all that stuff, winter storms, extreme heat is really the most dangerous.
So what is like the landscape of a place like this if temperatures keep rising like year after year after year, the populations keep
We're going to see
changing?
shifts. We're definitely going to see shifts. This could collapse. Yeah, there's no doubt that this ecosystem could collapse. It's on the teetering edge because most of the base species that are being eaten here is just a couple species. That's always dangerous.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes it's so cheap, they don't have roads.
Yeah, the rest is a pulling.